Stephen Matthews, owner of Punch for Pound Kids. We're dedicated to developing today's youth into tomorrow's leaders through the arts of boxing, the selfless service of mentoring, and advocacy of healthy thinking. I just knew that this was something that I could implement in our community that could help empower the youth. And so 2014, I began that journey. Not really knowing how I was going to get it done, but just having the passion to want to do it. First step was stepping out and believing in Stephen. Like I had this idea, this thought, and taking the initial step to see it manifest in reality. And so that was knocking on doors. I learned how to pay my way forward and how to invest into what I'm doing, into other people. So it became an understanding that if I volunteer, if I care about what you care about, that'll give you permission to care about what I care about. Making those contacts. Immediately after that, I learned that I needed to start, not going just with passion, but going with data. How do you fill it, void, and what are the numbers? Because, with everything you do, it's that side too. So wanting to leave an inheritance and build a legacy, I had to start diving more in on the business side along with the passion. And start understanding what value is and where my value is and what that looks like. And so, yeah, it was a journey. It was definitely a journey because that level of information wasn't just readily available. Access wasn't just readily available. And even though I had the confidence and the courage to knock on doors, I had the mindset of 12 no's, 1 yes. But there was still these other little things we were talking about earlier. Do you smile a lot? What do you look like when you, how are you articulating? Who have you aligned yourself with? All these little things. Yeah, so it's a challenge. But we making it. We definitely getting there. I look at success as one, leaving an inheritance for the tribe. Leaving a legacy built on community service and entrepreneurship. Seeing the community, like the one I come from, being able to empower yourself from within, where you have black-owned businesses and banks, farming. So that's how I would see success. Us depending upon each other, being able to put green dollars in black hands, have thriving businesses within the community. That's how I see success today. Always remember, for Stephen, I'm always wanting to make sure that you understand you're obligated to empower your community. It's not like something that you should think about as something that you should automatically want to do. So.
Welcome to another episode of I Am the Change podcast, brought to you by Dreams to Reality Incorporated, a nonprofit organization geared towards uplifting, inspiring, and empowering communities all over the world. I'm your host, Michael Davis, alongside Sharice Lovett and Mr. Jason Redmond.
How's it going? How's it going? Man, I'm great. I'm good. Yeah. So this week,
vocally challenged this week, Sharice, but it's all right.
It's all right though. I'm here.
Yeah. She got a sexy voice on for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally I go into saying I dug in my bag and pulled out a guest, but I can't say that this week. I'm gonna let our lovely co-host Sharice Lovett go ahead and introduce our guest today.
So I am happy to introduce Stephen Matthews, who is the CEO and founder of Punch for Pound Kids. He's based in Greensboro, North Carolina. I actually was introduced to him through a former coworker of mine. And so we're about to start doing some collaboration in Winston-Salem with Winston-Salem Recreation and Parks. So he has an amazing story. I'm going to let him go into that, and you're going to learn a lot about the programming, his platform, profit and not-for-profit. So he takes care of both sides of the equation, and just really excited about what he has to say today. So Stephen, tell us a little bit about you.
Definitely. Appreciate you guys for having me on. I'm excited. Again, I'm Stephen Matthews, owner of Punch for Pound Kids, developing today's youth into tomorrow's leaders through the sport of boxing, the selfless service of mentoring, and the advocacy for healthy thinking. We want to ensure that we're part of closing certain gaps inside of underserved and underprivileged communities, recreational, emotional, and social life and soft skills, and now able to be a part of job readiness and employment opportunity gaps. And so our efforts are allowing us to put our hands and arms around youth beginning from the ages of 4 all the way up into young adults at 24 years of age.
Oh man, that's dope. That's dope. How did you get started doing all this?
Great question. And so, excuse me. I took the sport of boxing as a professional fighter. It became a tool for me that was an authoritative figure. That helped me with my confidence. It helped me with my levels of character and leadership from a restraint and composure, learning how to de-escalate versus escalate. And so some of my challenges as a young man, as a young father at the time, boxing just became everything for me. And so when you live inside of impoverished communities and you see the challenges inside of communities, for me, I wanted to be a part of how do we solve some of these solutions in our communities. And so I took the sport of boxing as well as my military background, and I combined the two. And that's where we began to kind of strategize and develop some level of planning to try to change what we were seeing with our youth. I started in High Point, North Carolina. And so if you're familiar with High Point, from a workforce development standpoint, from a poverty, from a crime, all of that is prevalent there. And so we just kind of wanted to jump into the gap. And so I remember saying, let me volunteer my services. And that's where it all began, a twice a week volunteer program.
Oh,
we just kind of evolved from there.
That's hot, man. That's hot.
So I know,
No, go ahead.
okay. So I know when you and I first met, you were talking about how when you were doing the volunteer and to be able to reach the young people, you found it was easier because you looked like them. And like, you showed me tattoos and things like that. Have you found that to be true as the organization has grown?
Definitely. And so like, if we just look at statistics, 79% of teachers in North Carolina don't look like our students. And so what I was able to immediately see, and you got to remember too, I come from an environment where I never met my father until I was 36 years of age. And so the male presence that's lacking, that was missing inside of all of what we was dealing with, definitely when I realized as a Black man going into communities and put myself in front of Black boys and or girls, it was like magic. And that relatable piece, the lingo, the walk, the talk coming from those communities, that's just an easy way to engage. And once you can engage and build rapport, now we have a relationship and everything else begins to domino effect from there. And that's been our motto.
Yeah.
And what made you want to start at the age of 4?
So if I be honest, Miss Lovett, I just wanted to rock with kids in general. I'm a father of 5 kids. And so it was important for me to be daddy from day one. And so it wasn't an age, it was just much of a need. Now, as we've grown from citizen service gaps, and now we want to evolve into an organization that warrants levels of funding so that we can pipeline resources to the poorest sides of the city. We had to understand the terms and what we're in front of. And so working at the age of 4 means that we want to make sure those pre-K kids are ready to go into pre-K. So they translate into kindergarten kids that are, ready to go into kindergarten. So understand when a kid goes into pre-K and he or she isn't performing at a certain rate, that immediately dominoes an effect into the pipeline of prison. That immediately says that this kid is not going to pass EOG. That and so all these statistics are beginning to create from day one.
Right.
And so we're able to step in early. Now we are not just providing the academic side, but we're also creating a preventative measure side as well.
So when you all step in and work with a child from 4 years old, how do you get them to correlate education to from boxing to education and put those two together? Because you're talking about dealing with.
That's a great question.
Good.
My bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you say that again? You kind of broke up.
Oh, so okay. So I'm saying when you're dealing with a child that's 4 years old, you're talking about correlating education to their behavior. How do you put that together using boxing? Like you get them in the ring, teach not so much teach them skills as boxing, but teaching them are you working them through like being angry or being just having a whole bunch of pent-up energy? Because they don't really get like 30 minutes of outside time or recess. You have them to work through that to get back in the classroom to work on the classwork.
So everything, and that's a great question. For me, we run our own youth development center, so we can modify, customize our scheduling. Our center is open 7 days a week. We're able to work with youth from 6 to 18, 5 days a week. Those 4 and 5 year olds, we only work with them maybe, once a week, at most twice a week for those ages.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because, again, I'm a father, and so my children were the first children I taught how to box.
Gotcha.
So that's my Harvard education, knowing that these are kids. They my kids, so I can make them do something. Somebody else's kids, it's a couple of more barriers and challenges there.
Right.
And so, before we make it a job, let's have fun. Let's introduce. Let's say this is what stretching is. This is what boxing is, and let's not make it technique driven as much as it is activity driven. That's the relationship part at 4 and 5.
Gotcha.
How does that translate into success inside a classroom? Because we're teaching certain levels of where's your opponent in front of you, coach. What does that mean? Stay focused. At 4 and 5, that's a little more challenging, but repetition is what we always got to remember. Discipline isn't a punishment. Discipline is lessons and teachings and going over and over until it becomes second nature. And so starting at 4 and 5 gives us an opportunity to begin that repetition very early. And so it becomes engraved, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, most definitely. So you focus on the small pieces first, and then you build that foundation. Like you said, rapport. So tell me one of your biggest success stories. Like, so I'll be as transparent as I possibly can. I'm dealing with so like here in Durham, North Carolina, we had a young man got killed recently. We had a string of robberies and murders recently, and a couple of guys were guys that I coached. So for me, it's like, oh man, like, it's always been one guy or two guys every year from the time I started coaching that we lost to the streets. And my thing is, I wonder, was I not focusing on the small things with those guys? So like, how do you deal with like a success story or a failure story? Not to say a failure, but a not as successful of a story of a player or participant in your program.
Yeah, that's so I was 19 when I went to Iraq. I've been to 6 ambushes. And so from a military standpoint, it's always casualties in war. You just learn how to accept that. And so, but on this side of the fence, from a worst case scenario, we have kids dying every day while a city council or county commissioners or public schools or whoever is in these positions of authority and leadership have conflicting conversations or stagnations or whatever. But on the lowest level, the ground level, somebody is being impacted by that. And so, and that happens. And I don't really have an answer to say how I deal. I stay close to the Most High. If I'm answering, I pray. But more than anything, we stay diligent in our work, and we try to just continue to attack against these negatives that's inside of our community. What we've done here in the city to counter violence on a team level, we've just begun to create a lot of different level of activity that compounds with additional resources. That's just not fun, but that's empowering. I'll give you an example of a success story though. For instance, Coach Malcolm is a 19-year-old staff coach at our facility. He started at our facility, or with me when he was 13, excuse me. He's now 19, certified fitness trainer, bi-weekly check. He basically can run a youth development center. We was contracted to come to Winston with another organization. He led that for me out there in Winston. And he's, like I said, 19, came up through the ranks. On the flip side of that, you might have
Stephen, I think we lost you.
He's no longer.
You still there? You
We here?
You give us that one more time. We kind of you kind of broke up a little.
Yeah, so start with the story after Malcolm.
Right. So Coach Malcolm, 19 years old.
Yeah.
He's a full-time staff. He's the lead coach at our facility. I'm able to delegate a lot to him. He's in Winston, taking care of some business with our Punch for Pound kids in the partnership with Push 21. And so he's one of our success stories as a teenager, as a kid coming through the ranks, growing, graduating from high school, and now being employed with Punch for Pound kids. And that's kind of what we want to continue to do, is empower from within, and always be able to identify young adults in our communities that we can put our arms around, give them some level of skill set and guidance and direction, and put them in the best positions to succeed.
But I think like even with you, Stephen, and with Jason, and even myself in the work that we do, we can talk and instill and work with the kids. It's somebody, I feel like in the 15 years I've been doing the work, like you're gonna lose some are gonna get to the cracks, some are, it could be situational things that happen. Like I feel like the students that Jason is talking about, it could have just been wrong place, wrong time, where unfortunately their life was ended not too long ago. But it's, and those situations can be a little discouraging, where you're like, dang, I lost some. But it's like, who have we touched? Who's still here rocking with us? And so it, and like Stephen said, Jason, I don't know if it's really truly an answer for that, but you got to keep pressing and keep doing, and knowing that, you did what you could at that time that they were in your home.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I understand that, but I want to see how Stephen dealt with that, because I know a lot of times it's when you deal with a loss of individuality, it does weigh on you a little bit, but at the same time, when you are out here grinding, touching young people, like my thing is, every day, like the story with Coach Malcolm, like to me, that's amazing. Started at 13 and now 6 years later, he's employed, giving back, doing the same thing, because there's always somebody looking up to you, looking at you, trying to emulate what you do. To me, that's the biggest form of flattery when somebody tries to emulate me.
Right.
So with that being said, like you said, you started off boxing, you were in the military. Like, what drove you? I know the answer to the military. Everybody's answer to the military is that my mom gave me 3 choices: school, job, go to the military. So I know that answer. So my question is, when you started, what drove you to boxing though?
Oh, wow. So in the military, I had one opportunity. Somebody said, bro, you box? And I never got a chance to do it. I had some anger issues, they said, in the military. I personally think all kids that come from certain communities, man, they are PTSD driven, for real. And so coming inside of the military environment, having these levels of aggressions, I kind of displayed those angers in certain ways. And so I never got a chance to box, but I moved back home from from Texas, and I had an opportunity. Excuse me, guys.
You good?
There we go. I had an opportunity. My barber, he said, man, stop by this gym. I'm 20 years old. And so I go to this gym, a white lady named Cheryl Nance, kickboxing. She fought Christina Martin on the Mike Tyson undercard. She's the lady who runs the gym. And the rest is history, man. I started boxing. I did amateur for like a couple of years, maybe 1 or 2. But I was married at the time with kids, so I stopped. And then in 2010, I got a phone call. Hey, little Steve, they over here on the east side fighting, and can't nobody beat you. Come over here. So I ended up doing a street tournament. I beat up everybody in the streets. And then I turned pro after that. Just like that, turned pro. I got offered a management situation. I moved to Columbus, Ohio. And that's what I thank the Most High for. Because what we created in an apprenticeship called E4, which is a military rank, it starts with engage and expose. But that opportunity to go to Columbus, Ohio was all the exposure I needed to see how beneficial boxing is to communities like ours. I walked in one building in Cincinnati, man, I seen 5 rings and all these melanated people around these rings with their kids and grandparents. And this is something in my city that I know amateur boxing could bring more pride to communities, more unity. It hadn't been done yet here. And so that's had been my drive and my push. But to box, man, it was more just anger issues. I found a way to release some stress. And I was pretty good at it. But ultimately, man, if I told you the truth, it was therapeutic more than anything. I could fight, I could box, nobody can question that. But I found way more pleasure in using the sport to hug and love on kids than I did in actually competing, man.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
That's what's up. Yeah.
So when you box, were you a southpaw or did you box right-handed?
Now I'm orthodox. Yep.
Okay.
Orthodox,
Okay.
left hand jab.
I got you.
Yeah, but you know what? I taught my baby girl,
too.
she's 15 and she right-handed, but I taught her to fight southpaw. Her and my little boy, they both right-handed southpaws.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
That means they hit you hard with both hands.
yeah.
I got one of my fraternity brothers, man. Every time so we were in school, he boxed. He from St. Louis, Missouri, man. Them was big boxers. And like every time at homecoming we go down, he'd always give me a new boxing tip. And the one thing I could always say, man, I knew I'd never be a boxer because every time he'd hit me, like, wow, I'd be like, hey man, don't touch me no more. It's the body shots for me. He never hit me with anything. It was all body shots. I was like, I quit. Don't hit me no more. Yeah, that's
so
boxer.
Durham has a lot of boxing history down that way. I had some homies, some friends, some compadres down there that they did some great things in boxing. Jamar Freeman, he's out of Wilson. That's not Durham, but that's in that area. I know Lamar Russ is out that way. We got a guy, Baker. He's out in the Durham area. So yeah, it's some great amateur boxers. They got an awesome coach out that way. I can't think of his name. Got some dreadlocks.
Yeah.
But he's running an awesome amateur program out there in Durham.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
boxing is to me, boxing is needed today. You know, a lot of our kids don't know how to deal with no levels of challenge, of no's, of adversities. You know, once upon a time you could be able to slap box and it was all love, you know.
Right.
You can't slap
There's
boxing.
a lot of
No.
can't do none of that now.
No.
You know, so
It's over.
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So I checked out your website, and I see you got the Virtual Learning Center. Is that something you brought to your program through COVID, or did you already have that a part of your program?
So no, so we dropped the website, right? As soon as we dropped the website, here comes COVID. But you know, we made an immediate adjustment. I mean, the adjustment we made was so fast. We made an adjustment before county schools did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always the big fish take little fish, big bank take little bank. And so even though we put ourselves in position to be a part of a solution, not the solution, but to be a part of it, man, it's just a lot that came with it. But we definitely tried to adjust to be a part of our community's needs. Our facility has Wi-Fi. We were able to get some devices donated. We were able to, you know, have some level of support on the site as well as in person. And so it was just wanting to get a chance to be a part of our community's needs and knowing that our students were going to deal with a lot from the virtual standpoint. I mean, I always stress little things like I'm a father, but those things matter because I was teaching my sons how to email a year before the COVID. I'm sending him tasks, I'm sending him information and he has to respond via email, blah, blah, blah. But what was that doing? That was helping him learn how to navigate and learn how to access and get onto these websites and do the necessaries. And so when COVID happened, that was one of our biggest gaps was students was falling through, not knowing how to navigate and keep up. And so that was one of the reasons why we started our virtual learning. And I always try to like speak positive, but when it comes to taking care of our people, the business side is like where you see the biggest devils at, if I can say that. Because it's like we're trying to do good work for our people, and I don't know why we got to go through all these loopholes to get it done, you know?
Yeah.
And so that virtual website, that virtual side was one of those things that got caught up in and kind of just being there, and our community not being able to utilize as much. But again, we keep pressing forward. We keep pressing.
Absolutely. So did you do like boxing workouts and fitness workouts online too?
I did some of that. Can I tell you the truth? I'm personal. This is a learning curve for me. I don't really like the whole this thing, what we doing right here. This is kind of nerve-wracking.
I feel you.
I'm a person who like to hug and shake hands and hey man, let's work, and you feel my energy. But yeah, we try to make adjustments and adapt to the virtual side of virtual workouts. I even had one of our clients, we did some Zoom workouts with water bottles and kind of, just trying to modify and be creative. And so, yeah, we definitely tested it out, but I'm a fan of in person way more.
Right.
Definitely. So I got one more question. I don't mean to kind of, hug it real quick.
You good?
I was just,
No, go ahead.
So like I watched it was like a 4-minute video on the page. And you were just talking about the program and the mindset and everything. You were saying like, you're talking about how you were going to start the program, and you was like, you didn't know how you were going to do it, but you were just going to do it. And you had the mindset, 12 no's, 1 yes, you know what I'm saying?
Man,
like, so
it's a fact.
Yeah. And it was dope. You know what I'm saying? The mindset was super dope. So I'm just wondering, did you develop that mindset through the military and boxing, or is that something you just had to learn, like going through what you went through in life?
Yeah, I think that I definitely had to pick that up very early. And like I talk fast, and because I've been able to heal a lot of the things that I might say, they're like big, but they don't impact me. But to grow up without a father figure, without any guidance, my mom is like everything, so jobs, entrepreneur, hair salon, me and my brothers taking ourselves to school, teaching ourselves to cook, all those kind of things that, we kind of just, I appreciate today. That's what got me to 12 no's, 1 yes. I remember my mom moved to Kinston and she left me and my twin brother in Charlotte. So we took ourselves to school for probably like 2-3 months. These little things like that were able to prepare me for whatever I was in front of. You see what I'm saying? Let alone I dropped out of school at 16 and went to boot camp. So I'm in this boot camp at Tar Heel Challenge with the worst kids in the state.
Yep.
Overcame that. Then I go to the military. I get kicked out the boot camp, go to the military at 17, basic training, all that. I remember I called my mom one time, and I was in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and I had never been sick. I had called bronchitis January 2001. And she said, son, I don't know why you calling me. I can't help you. No, this is a fact. This is what she told me. I'm crying too. She's like, son, I can't help you. You thousands of miles away. And so I just remember that, like, those were probably one of the last times I ever called home crying, And so, yeah, the 12 no 1 yes mentality, it just came through just persevering and having the need to be something for my family, my brothers and my mother. And so whatever stripes came with it, man, we was taking, so yeah, that's where that came from.
That's what's up.
So look, I got a question. So I'm looking at doing this research, man, talking about your environment versus your mind. So I'm a big sociology kind of guy. I believe that your environment either will catapult you or restrict you from success. Mm-hmm. So some people believe that, you can achieve it. You can conceive it, you can achieve it. So tell me, man, what do you think? Like, do you think like all the things that you went through, the environment you came up in, do you think that propelled you to be successful? Or do you just think you were just that you were the psychology type of thinker? You thought like, man, if I can conceive it, I can achieve it.
I think it was both. Cause see, like my mother was also a praying woman. She also introduced me to the Most High. Mm-hmm. So she also introduced me what faith is and what mustard size seeds of faith is. She also, the environment, my mom exposed us. You got to remember, like, she owned a hair salon. So I had to go to beauty school with my mom. Then I got to see her evolve into a business owner with her own hair salon. You know, so she's exposing and she's showing us, even though we going through struggle and poverty and we don't really recognize the magnitude, sometimes, you know, because I remember eating waffles all day, bro. I remember the light skin cut off. You got to do your homework before the goddamn sun goes, before the sun goes.
Hey, let it out, bro. Hey,
that's how it go.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
so it was a mixture. It was a balance. But what I do know is my mom was never stagnated. She wasn't taking care of us off her back. You know, so she was showing us what work ethic is and what determination is. She was showing us what prayer is. She was showing us what resilience is. And, you know, she was showing us that if ain't nobody gonna come, you got to make sure you do it yourself. You know, that's what the 12 knows. And so I think coming through adversities and environment we came through, it did help me. But I also understand that I had a strong Black woman that was giving me guidance and direction as well. And so for me, I'm the man who wants to always try to bring balance.
Right, I get it.
You know, I'm the man who wants to say, oh, you know, if we're in this environment, you can think your way out of it. That's for certain. You can manifest reality through your thinking. That's for certain. But we also recognize too, especially from, you know, the standpoint of if you're in a household where that's not the normal conversation, or that's not what you're getting a chance to see on a day-to-day basis, then that shit is gonna be way more of a challenge. And we're gonna need a Steven or a you to pop in that kid life and give them that exposure. That's a fact. And so that's why for me, brothers and sisters, I never turn my back on kids. I got 5 kids and they ask me, bro, do you know how many kids you got? Why you? But you know, I just feel like it take a tribe. We gotta do our job. We gotta take care of our community. You know what I mean? If you got 5, then so what? Pick another one up real quick. That makes sense. So
yeah. So to piggyback on that question, man, like, what do you think is success? Like, how do you define success for Punch for Pound kids? How do you define that for a child that, like you said, came up single parent household, ate waffles every day, like, you know, lights come out, doing homework before the sun goes down? Like, what's success for that person?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's the individual case by case. I know for me, success from a business standpoint is to empower and employ. We want to empower our community and employ people that look like us to do it. I know success for me as a man is sustainability, where I can control more of my circumstances than not. Guide my children in the best directions and lead them with inheritance. You dig what I'm saying? But for the kid that's coming, or the young lady or man that's coming from a community that says, how do I define success? I'm saying, man, find purpose and walk in that purpose, and then bring that back to your community and fill in some gaps with your purpose. You know, that's what I'm calling success. Because, you know, we got the game, it ain't fair no more. You know, they got these cars, these houses, everything that's not important is important today.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. The intangibles are the things that you can lose on a daily basis, but you can also get them back. All that stuff, people, the flash and cash, everybody wants. But I think what you said was dope. Like, you talking about sustainability, you're talking about
inheritance.
Yes, inheritance, sustainability, educating and employing, man. That was big too. All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. Yeah. We're gonna have to come down. Now, you said you're in Winston or in Greensboro?
Listen, we were the most high need us to be. I think we need to be everywhere, Winston and Durham.
Hey, look, you might have to come out to Seattle too.
We got to get you out to Seattle, man.
Man, that'd be a blessing. Hey, can I tell y'all the truth? Like, we have continued to work. Meeting Miss Lovett was a blessing. I promise you, I talk about her more than she know. We're excited about getting the opportunity. No, that's a fact. East Winston and East Greensboro are identical twins. And then I can imagine that every Black side of the city is identical to the east other side, you know, if that makes sense. So when it comes to poverty, when it comes to classisms, our goal is to now see how can we deliver a message that says that have-nots take care of have-nots, that we empower from within, internally, strategize ways to take care of ourselves. That should be what I learned in these last few months is just that it's a system that's just not going to allow effective change on the lowest level. There's a lot of different it's just so many different barriers. And so I don't want to keep asking people for nothing. That's that 12 no 1 yes thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't mind working for mine, but to be sitting somewhere begging and asking somebody to do something that they already know needs to be done, I don't want to do that. I want to talk to people that look like me, who have a heart like me, and do understand this. When I say look like me, that used to be you melanated, but I think I need to change that because it's no longer color barriers. It's heart and mind. It's heart and mind, spirit. Who recognizes that these are in functionalism society, they say we got to be the lowest level, but they keep doing everything possible to maintain our situation at the lowest level. How do we break through that? That's our question, and that's our goal. How do we break through and create some level of social mobility where underserved and underprivileged communities are no longer what they call underserved and underprivileged? And so starting with the youth has been our focus, and gradually breaking into the household is where we're going to with the job readiness and employment opportunities. And so, yeah.
So how long is Punch for Pounds? How long have you been doing this? I know you said you got
6 years.
6. Oh man, woo!
6.
Oh,
6 years. We started off teaching kids how to box with not knowing nothing. All I know is I want to take some black kids, tell them I love them, teach them how to box, and from there we just kind of kept getting better at it.
Oh, man.
So we started a Liberation Academy 2 years ago, year and a half ago. We've been able to last year I think we had about 40 college interns from A&T. We started our own mentoring program called HBCU, helping build communities underserved and underprivileged. So we're about 10 interns strong this year. And so we just working. We're looking forward to coming to 14th Street, implementing some of these and partnering with some of her services. And so, yeah, I'm excited. Thank you, Ms. Levitt.
No problem. Thank you, Stephen.
So you said you've been open for 6 years. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I ain't gonna do that. You good?
No, go ahead. I interrupted all the time, man. Go ahead.
I was just I was just gonna say you said you've been open for 6. So where you see yourself in the next 6?
Great question. Bro, that's a blessing. Thank you for that question. Duplication. This man from Spain met me when I was boxing, and he taught me this thing like, yo, Stephen, you got something that you don't have to be there. It can still make money.
Yes.
And you got to start focusing on how do you make money 24 hours a day? And this is when I first started. I didn't know what this man was talking about. I promise you, everybody around me could see more than I could see what I was doing when I first started. But I came through with passion and love, and I'm glad I did it that way because it wasn't monetary driven, it was empowering driven. But to answer your question, duplication. To set up shop in Guilford, Forsyth, Mecklenburg, Wake Durham, Rowan, Davie, it's 100 counties in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It's 100 counties in North Carolina. So that means it's 100 opportunities we have to collaborate and empower underserved and underprivileged communities. Mm-hmm. So in 6 years, that's what we want to do. We want to duplicate. We want to increase our staffing. That means we increase salaries for hearts and minds that are driven to empower. And that means that we pipeline resources to the lowest level where kids from 14 to 24 are being serviced. Definitely.
Yeah. So how do you do collaborations?
Collaborations?
Yeah. Do you got to collaborate with other organizations?
I love to. That's the only way. That first and foremost, if you're really trying to do work, then you're not going to get the big bag without finding ways to collaborate.
Dig it.
That's highly important. There's no one-man bandstand. And so what I've learned inside of the systems is that Stephen Matt, I'm literally from the East Side. Everything I told y'all is a fact, right? So I got a GED, my college credentials is low. And so when you play inside of empowering games, there's a box that says you got to check this, got to check this, got to check this. And when you don't check those, there's some resistance. Yeah. And so for me to get around that pushback, it becomes imperative that I do collaborations. That's a fact. And we mask each other's success inside of each other's success.
Got you.
Jason, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, man, I'm about to say it. I'm gonna let you go ahead and say it though, because man,
Jason, so Stephen Matthews, Dreams to Reality is about to be a collaboration with you. Just so you know.
Hey, let's do
it. We gotta find a way to put these programs together, which you're already doing, man. Because
definitely.
At the end of the day,
because
what you have, what we're trying to do, and the angle that we're going, like, man, it's no reason.
It makes sense.
Yeah, no reason to
It makes sense.
duplicate the wheel, man. Just go ahead and put your wheel right here, our wheel right here. We all
And let's get it rolling.
That's a blessing. That's a system right there. That's a system. So look, somebody asked me earlier about system. I said, listen, we can't stop systematic racism. Like, you can't change how somebody feel. Now, and I might go too far. So either we're gonna go against the system or we're gonna create one. And that's just where it's at. I don't know how we can win inside, but if we can do what we talking about now, creating our own systems, bringing our own wheels together, now we can start doing some things. And that's where I'm at with it, guys. Is let's put the responsibility on our own backs. Let's put the responsibility on our own intellectual property and our own organizing, and let's put something together. So yeah, I'm definitely for the collaboration.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Most definitely.
And Jason got an idea for an app for that too, so we gotta get jumping on that.
Yes, man, we've been working. So look, so here's the funny part about all this. So when we started the podcast, man, we talked prior to, and we talked about a little bit of everything. I ain't gonna let all the cats out the bag, but we started talking about a lot of different opportunities for a lot of different people. And the goal was like, hey, if I can make it to where you make it to where Punch for Pounds wins, if I make it for Teen Gen wins, if I make it for Rhythm of Hope wins, everybody wins. If you're talking about creating a system, you're talking about, you're not creating a system, you're creating an opportunity within the structure that's already there. So if the system is capitalism, you're playing with capitalism, but you're playing with how you spend your dollars. And now you're spending your dollars within. You're teaching your own people, the less fortunate, hey, look, don't spend your money over here. Bring it right here. The price is going to be a little bit higher, but the product is going to be the same as over there. It's just, if you take your money from over there and bring it over here, now this product will go down to that same price, and then you'll be recycling your dollars within the community. So now you got Punch for Pounds winning, you got Teen Gen winning, now everybody's winning. Rhythm of Hope is winning because now you're putting out something that people need, which I'm entertaining myself. I'm teaching my young people how to create businesses. I'm keeping those focused. I'm giving them some activities to do. Everybody's winning. So if everybody starts winning, now you start talking about political power. You talk about economic resources. Now you're putting it in right. Now you're checking them boxes, and all the boxes checked. We done lost it. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
This time he went.
Oh man.
We were holding on.
Oh goodness, he left. Man.
Hopefully we can get him back.
Oh,
right.
That's
but
dope,
Jason, I knew where you were going. I was like, I feel it.
I had my lure out there.
I saw it.
Yeah, I was going to get him. I didn't realize he was going to bounce off on me though. Golly. Yeah, it's all good though. Oh man. Yeah. That's a definite win. We definitely got to keep in contact with him.
Yeah,
he's dope, yo. Y'all gotta, if you haven't checked out his website and the page, it's like dope.
No, I gotta go back and look at it.
I got it on the flyer, the address for the
when you sent the flyer out, I chuckled. I said, "That's not the picture I sent." So I figured that's what you ended up getting it from. Because Jason and I were talking last night about the picture.
Yeah.
And so, but it was better than the first picture he sent me. And so when that picture came through, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and send it.
Yeah.
I said, Jason, go ahead and ask him his background.
Oh man, yeah. No. I was go. We were talking on camera about it. I was like, nah, man, look, y'all ain't gonna have that man mad at me. Nope. But I want to.
When I got the picture in the email, I was like, who is this? It's gotta be a rapper. Somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, he said, hey, I'm trying to wait for him to come back, man, because it's gonna be kind of hard to end without him.
Yeah.
I know.
But
I don't know if his phone died.
Hey man, I guess the reception was bad. But really inside, we gotta definitely reach out to him and keep him in. We gotta reach out to him and collaborate with someone, because when he's talking about the job skill readiness, that's perfect right there.
Yeah.
That's a success project all day long.
I'm excited about the collaboration, working with them with the center. Mm-hmm. Of course, city government work is really different than true grassroots work, right. Boots on the ground. So being able to also work with them from the Dreams Reality side, I think will give us a lot more room and flexibility.
True that. So what's
So-
that? What was that high school that was over there by the center? Was that Clemens High School?
By my recreation center?
Yes.
No, it's Winston-Salem Prep.
There's a high school that you told me about this summer that had the garden. I thought it was
Oh, Carver High School.
Carver High School. I think that you said they had a garden.
They do. They have a big garden.
Yeah. I thought because I reached out to him and I talked to him briefly and about helping them with their garden.
But the rec center next to Carver, Carl Russell,
Uh-huh.
they have a community garden too, which is open to anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we can touch base with them and figure out. I mean, if they got if Carver has the garden and Carr, what's again Carr what?
Carl Russell.
If Carl Russell has a garden too, that'd be a great collaboration program. But I'm sure they probably already have one.
Not
No,
at Carl Russell.
they don't.
No.
Not with Carver.
No.
Oh man, that'd be something good to do. All right. Well, Michael, hey, look, I don't think my man's coming back, man. He maybe his phone did die. Has he hit you up, Sharice?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, hey man. Hey, look, this is one of the beautiful things.
Go ahead and take us on out, Michael.
Yeah, it's one of the beautiful things.
I wanted to do that.
One of the beautiful things about the podcast, man. Anything can happen.
Facts.
That's what keeps it real.
Hey man.
Exactly.
Hey, it's a beautiful
Real
thing
authentic.
on TV.
But it was a good episode. It was
Man.
a great episode, though.
Yes.
Glad we got them on. So I'm taking them out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's on you,
All right. Well, if this is your first time tuning in, please like, subscribe, and continue to follow us on this journey. If you've been rocking with us, please keep on keeping on because we have a lot more amazing episodes to come. I'd like to thank my two amazing co-hosts, Mr. Jason Redmond and Mr. Sharice Lovett with the sexy voice this week.
Thank you.
We are Dreams to Reality Incorporated, a nonprofit organization geared toward uplifting, inspiring, and empowering communities all over the world. I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight. And remember, our goal is not to be better than anybody, but together we can achieve better for everybody. Thank you. Have a good night. Peace.
All right.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Matthews, owner of Punch for Pound Kids, developing today's youth into tomorrow's leaders through the sport of boxing, selfless service and mentoring, and the advocacy for healthy thinking. I wanted to conclude with some words of encouragement. Simply stay you. Don't conform, don't assimilate. At the end of the day, I realized that at the lowest levels is where the most creativity, the juices, all of the most innovative scientists, the new information, that's where it's at. And so what I would suggest doing is finding your passion, finding your purpose, then standing 10 toes in that and becoming the best version. On that journey of becoming the best version of you inside of your passion and purpose, I want you to take that same effort and bring it back to a community that's in need. Whether we're going to engage them, expose them, educate them, empower them. I'm just a firm believer in empowering from within, internal support. And so my words of encouragement to you is somebody needs you, keep diligent in becoming the best version of you, because then your value is going to illuminate a world of underserved and underprivileged communities. Stephen Matthews, P4Kids.com, Punch for Pound Kids IG, Punch for Pound Kids Facebook, signing out. Till next time.